Which house is the best house of fashion?
He is so dreamy. Okay, so his character is really annoying when he starts out, but if you're a golden deer at heart, you'll learn to love him.
He's like that MMO character where you just put on whatever has the best stats.
It's like a poncho.
That's, I think, why it's the best, is because it's the perfect combination of like the medieval and the modern fashion.
That makes sense.
So that's the Golden Deer. That's all the characters we wanted to talk about for the Golden Deer, but we're gonna be swiftly moving into the next house, which is the Black Eagles. And
yes.
I think maybe it's a little deceptive at first because you see Edelgard and you're like, whoa, it's gonna be crazy. But
there's gonna be so much fashion.
There's gonna be so much fashion, but like it's you'd be surprised.
Yeah. Okay, so to be perfectly honest, I haven't played the Black Eagles. I'm saving it for a long trip I'm going to have in the fall, and I want to just spend the entire trip playing the Black Eagles run through. But from what I've seen, it's a lot of the characters are very what you'd expect. Like, you would look at a character and you're like, that's pretty much what I would expect from who you are. Like Casper, for example. He is a rough and tumble boy who loves to get in fights. Guess what? He's got a faux hawk. What?
Yeah.
A person like that has a faux hawk? So I feel like a lot of the characters are kind of like that.
And I think that, again, a lot of them just rely on, like, the color motifs to, like, carry them forward.
No, totally.
And I think that a lot of the Golden Deer suffer from that as well. Like, if you've ever seen a conversation with Lawrence and Ignatz together, it's just, like, clashing of just garishness and absurdity. But Edelgard, I think, is definitely one of the more impressive outfits, just simply because she is one of the kind of protagonists and antagonists in the game, so she's kind of got to be that impressive in her fashion. But it is impressive when you see the change. It's one of the most dramatic, I think.
Oh, definitely. When the game first starts, the leaders of each house, they all have like a color. You're like, oh, Claude is gold, Dimitri is blue, and Eldegard is red. Okay, that sounds great. But when she grows up, she like becomes her own thing. She's got horns in her hair, which is so cool. It's one of the neatest choices I've seen for a character in a long time. Like, her hair is wrapped around horns. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's kind of this whole golden headpiece because it's, like, also a circlet, and it's got jewels hanging down the front. She's always had, like, that bright red in the leggings, but then the bright red kind of takes over because it's the dress and this giant cape that has its own adornments, almost sort of like a dragon. It's got those like scales to it on the cape, and then it's
absolutely
got those like heartless hearts. It's like the I'd hate to say it, but they are literally like the hearts with the crosses through them.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a more sophisticated.
There's something else. It can't be from Kingdom Hearts.
Something as weebs don't know what it is. But
and then she's got really cool ironed greaves. Was that what they're called? Like giant armor boots?
Yeah, and her gloves have like spikes on them.
Oh, yes, they do.
Which I think is radical.
Yes.
She is so cool. Yeah.
But then also she still has that very military style buttons on the chest.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's this mixture of like the dragon motif mixed with the imperial technique, like the militaristic. And it's I don't know, it's rad.
Can you see that like teardrop of a jewel hanging from her? Oh my god. Like just that detail to me says so much about the like her whole character, where she has all of this military regalia around her, and she's got these horns and like gold buttons and stuff. And then she has this like crystal teardrop in the middle of her forehead, which is so delicate. She actually has a lot more depth to her character than just the bad guy. And I think that's really cool that they fit that into her fashion.
It's amazing what they do with, especially if you just look at the portraits and the face with the fashion, because her eyes are one of the most striking features because they're violet. And violet is blue mixed with red. And so you have the cool colors of the teardrop, and her eyes are the only things that are really, that pop out of the red. And so in that way, you're really emphasizing that slight difference.
But they're gentle. Her eyes, the color and the shape of her eyes are so gentle. And it says that she's not Nemesis, who is the like legendary bad guy in this game. She's something else. She's something that has depth and complexity, and it reflects how I think they wanted each character to feel. Where you look at a character and you think you understand what their deal is, and then you see all the depth behind it, you know, like guys like Felix, you're like, okay, he's just a sword pervert, but he actually has like so much stuff going on under the surface. So
yeah, and in that way, like the fashion maybe initially forces you to make those like quippy judgments like we're doing right now, where it's like, oh, they're this, they're that,
right?
But then yeah, this is the caveat where it's like, but actually that's what the game wants you to think, so it's actually doing a great job even though we're like making fun of the outfits.
Well, that was the goal, I think, because you have the characters in school uniforms, so you can only see kind of just a shot of what their character is. And then once they progress into the war version of themselves, you see the actual complexities in their fashion that you wouldn't have seen in their school uniform. And it reflects how you get to know the characters, for the most part, you know?
Exactly.
And I think that's so...
And it asks you to reserve judgment. It's like, oh, you can't judge them based on the first half. You have to like go through the whole thing before you like fully get it. Anyways, that's our little rant about how amazing this is. Cut it out, put it at the beginning. So the next on the list I have is Dorothea, who is one of my favorites. She's so awesome, and she just tells everybody off all the time. She's a commoner. She's not a noble. She's a songstress, and she's got to like get about life through her wits and her charm, and she knows how to use it, and that's reflected through her outfit 100%.
Yeah. So I love Dorothea. She definitely was in my top 3 of people I wanted to romance. You know?
Yes. I think we ended up with literally the same top 3.
We have the same top 3, which if people are curious, it's Claude, Dorothy, and Felix. Those are both of our top 3.
Just to get it out of the way, in case you don't guess by the end of it.
You have the option to enter her in a dance contest, and then she gets a special class, which is the dancer. And so while she's in school, she can wear the dancer outfit out on the field. And it actually is extremely similar to the outfit that she ends up with 5 years later during the war. And so the outfit that she has in school as a dancer while she's out on the battlefield is white. It looks like almost like a Roman kind of toga. She's got these beautiful golden sandals that lace up her calves. And it's all open and flowy and beautiful. And it's so perfect for her character because she is so on the surface with everybody about how she feels about stuff. Her character is about the fact that she knows that she's attractive now, but she is afraid of ending up impoverished when she's older and not attractive to everybody. And so her goal is to try and find someone that can support her. And so her openness with everyone about that is reflected in her outfit, which is flowing and beautiful and, you know, a little boobage, a little cleavage there, but I'm not complaining.
Yeah, and she's fairly also open about her bisexuality as well. Like that.
Absolutely.
She's not hiding it. And yeah, but it's also like still very, it's again, we say it's sexy, but in video game terms, it's still pretty conservative.
It's appropriate.
Yes.
Is the best way I can say it. And not like high school, you better dress appropriately or you're going to be sent home. I mean, it's like appropriate to her character. So there is cleavage, and there is like, she's wearing the dress that she has goes up to basically her butt, like the slit, but it works for her character and it feels perfect for her. And it doesn't feel like it's exposing her. Like, I didn't feel uncomfortable. I felt like, oh yeah, that's something Dorothy would totally wear and it looks great.
I think one of the most interesting things about the time skip outfit is I guess it's like a metal corset around her waist.
Oh my god.
And it's like, what is it? It's got
I could not stop looking
chains
at
on
that.
the back and like metal tassels on the front. And
oh my god,
is just so powerful. And like along with her neck, her choker that connects to her, like the rest of her dress, it's just like insane.
oh my god. So it's not something I don't think anyone would wear in real life, although I did see a woman at a Renaissance festival wearing something very similar, where everything else was very flowing, kind of belly dancer-y, but then she had a metal corset that was made out of like chainmail and steel, and it was like
Whoa.
the coolest thing I've ever seen, and like scary, but like she was literally wearing it, so it is possible to wear something like that and not get pinched. That was my fear. Is like I would wear something like that, except for I would get pinched by the metal. Right?
Oh yeah. Well, it'd be very uncomfortable to sit down in this if you think about it.
Yeah. But someone out there actually did it. Something very similar. And so good for them. But I think that the metal corset part, or the middle part, is proof of like how she can have all of these flowy parts of her outfit, but then the core of her is so strong. The core of her is like steel. And that's like her personality.
Yeah, she's sexy, but she's also like not to be messed with.
Yeah.
They also do the cool thing with the eyes and the jewelry here as well, where her earrings are the same color as her eyes, the green. And again, that's the only part of her outfit that's like the cool color.
Yeah, I love that. I love the straps from her choker to her dress too. I'm into straps right now.
And
that's
this
like
is how
thing.
we can, but this is directly, I think we compare this with Hilda's outfit. And that's the difference, is this is a more mature version of that neckline.
Right. Hilda's is more, I don't want to say childish, but more
conservative.
poppy. Like
it covers the
entire,
it covers like the entire chest.
Right. Whereas Dorothea, she's bringing it all out.
Well, she's got to find a husband.
She's gotta show them what they got, what they can get.
Love it. Next on the list, I have Linhardt. And at first, like, I had Linhardt here, and I was like, okay, Mumbles doesn't have anything to say about Linhardt. And then I said he kind of reminds me of Kirby.
And then I laughed for like a minute straight.
And I think
correct.
The first part, you're like, oh, what a glow up. If you look up from like the waist up, you're like, okay, he got rid of his poofy hair, deflated it a little, but then you like, oh, where did the air go? You ask, and then you kind of trail down a little bit, and you go down, and you're like, poofy sleeves, and you keep going down, then you're like, poofy pants that could be used as flotation device. That's where the air from the hair went. That's where the volume went.
It just looks like he is trying to be comfortable at all times. He's like me, where it's like, I always want to be in a position where if someone says you have to take a nap right now, I can do that. That is my dream. And I think that he has the same goals.
But he still has on like a waistcoat and like all that fancy stuff. But I guess like the pants are so like he could probably just lay down and be comfy.
Well, okay. So like his character is really weird. He's just a weird guy. I can't wrap my head around him because he's like into magic, but he's also just not committal to anything. And I don't know.
He's honestly probably he's a filler character. They're like, oh, we need someone else. Let's just make him sleep all the time so we don't have to write dialogue for him.
It's like, we spent hours and hours putting depth into Sylvain of all. Let's, I don't know, make a sleepy boy. What's his gimmick? He's sleepy all the time. What's his tragic backstory? None. He's just sleepy. That's it.
He's a little detached from everything. Cool. You go do that over here while we fight a war.
I just imagine like everyone's gearing up for some battle and he's just back his turn and he's just looking at something else into the distance and has no idea like what is happening. He is the least responsible person on the battlefield.
Ugh, Linhart. All right, well, and that's the only stars of the Black Eagles, in my opinion. There wasn't really anybody else.
There's other stuff, but like I said, a lot of them, it's like you describe the character and then you look at their fashion, and you're like, yeah, that's about right.